Well, hello, y'all. It is time to breathe again on the latest Bow for Sports Shortie with your host, Charles Taylor. So, I am here because I have a interesting topic. Well, all of our topics are interested, but this one is no different in terms of it being interesting. And it is about Dabo Swinney, the head coach at Clemson. Um, he got loose on his soapbox. Uh, I think this was Tuesday when the reporters there, were asking him about his team's 1-2 start. So Clemson began the season at number 4 in the Associated Press poll. Of course, they had the loss to LSU at home, 17-10, and struggled with Troy before escaping with the 27-16 victory there. And then last Saturday, were defeated by Georgia Tech on a walk-off field goal down in the ATL. So Dabo is being asked about his team's performance and how are they going to respond. And Dabo started rattling off basically his resume. It might as well be something that you would see on LinkedIn or something, and I don't get paid for mentioning LinkedIn, but it might as well be mentioned in one of those outlets, in one of those platforms. And he's sitting there, he's talking about the success the program has had. And it's true. Yes, Clemson has won something like 8 out of the last 10 years. They've won the ACC. They have national championships from 2016 and 2018. They made the college football playoff national championship game in 2019 before losing to LSU. So there's been a lot of success in Clemson, no doubt. And then he was talking about if Clemson wants to let him go, then he'll have a job very, very soon. And that also might be true because not many coaches have had the success of that Dabo Swinney has had at Clemson. So all that stuff he said, there's no falsehood with that. He was spitting out facts. And yes, I get it from a resume standpoint. Yeah, there's probably not going to be any or many coaches better than what Dabo has accomplished. But there's one serious flaw to his way of thinking. And I think this is pretty universal when you look at how life is, when you look at how jobs are attained and what people look at in terms of who they're trying to hire. And that is it's something that you have heard Patrick and me discuss during numerous webcasts. But I think it is important to say this again, at the risk of repeating myself, because I'm not one who likes to repeat myself. But in this case, I think it's important to remember what you get hired for is for what organization or a team or an employer, whatever you want to call them, what you get hired for is what they feel you can give them and provide them for the future, not what you have done in the past. So yeah, Dabo has all these stats going in his favor. But it's been a while since 2018 when you won a national championship. And look, there's a lot of coaches who don't get to win championships. So I understand where that could be a huge nod for Dabo. But it's been a little bit since you won a national championship. And on top of that, yeah, you won 8 out of the 10 years. You won ACC 8 out of the 10 years. But the ACC is not exactly strong. They haven't been just this gauntlet of a conference. You'll have some years where Florida State emerges. You'll have some year when Pittsburgh was able to make a trip to the ACC. And outside of that, really, Clemson has been dominating. NC State, they're a team, they're solid, but they can't quite get through the door in terms of winning the ACC. SMU had a rise. We'll see what they do this year. But they were in the ACC championship game before losing to Clemson. And so, we'll see. But yeah, I get it. Clemson's won the conference, and I know it's a Power Four conference, but I don't think it's a stretch to say the ACC is the least powerful out of the Power Four conferences. And of course, I'm talking about the Big Ten, the SEC, the Big 12, and the ACC, or along with the ACC. But seeing how it has been a while since that national championship has happened, yeah, Clemson has won the ACC, but it's not like they've done much with that. And they get a 10-win season, but they end up playing in the Pop Tarts Bowl or the Citrus Bowl. They're not necessarily going to the playoff games in any of those bowls. So, look, there has been a cycle with Dabo where he is not willing to adapt to the times that are happening in today's college sports landscape. And this is the serious flaw that I'm talking about here. The NIL and the transfer portal is not going anywhere. It is here to stay. And yes, recruiting is a big part still of what you can build with the program. But if you're not willing to get into the NIL and the transfer portal, you're going to get left behind. Dabo looks like a guy who is getting left behind. And when people are starting to come at him with questions, fair questions, by the way, he starts rattling off his resume, basically. When you start doing that, that pretty much means you know the deal. You know things are probably starting to dry up for you, because now you want to start naming off all these accomplishments. I know he was talking about he's 55 years old and he has a long way to go in terms of coaching. And I've heard other media personalities talking about, well, who are you going to replace him with? That might be true too. Who are you going to replace Dabo with? Well, you can replace him with somebody who's going to be willing to evolve and be innovative. Dabo is not that guy right now. So let's say Clemson lets him go. Somebody calls. Maybe it could be Florida. Billy Napier's seat is hot. I mean, I guess it said a SEC team could have a hot seat at any point. But even if he goes into the Big Ten, if he goes to one of those teams, do you think, with the way he is doing things right now, do you really think, unless he evolves, do you really think he's going to be able to get with teams like Ohio State or Penn State or, I don't know, maybe even Illinois at this point? And then we'll see if Michigan gets back up there. Or is he going to be able to compete? Excuse me. Is he going to be able to compete with teams like Georgia, even Tennessee, Bama, in the SEC? Is he going to be able to compete with those teams? Yeah, he'll get a whole bunch of talent, but if you're not willing to adapt to the times that are here, you do get left behind. And again, it's for what they feel you're going to do in the future. If Dabo is going to have this same mindset that he had back in 2018, then he's not going to be at that school long either. So, yeah, Dabo, go ahead, name off all your accomplishments. We get it. But the past is the past. What's right now in front of us is you have a team. And look, Clemson can still win the ACC this year. It's not out of the possibility. They have one conference loss, so they can still win the ACC this year. But they're probably not going to be competing for any type of national title. And I don't see where Clemson's going to be competing with the national title anymore with Dabo Swinney being the head coach. I don't see it, not as long as he's willing to stick with this whole I'm not going to mess with the transfer portal or mess with NIL that much. Again, if you're not willing to evolve, I don't care how good you are, you will get left behind. And Dabo looks like a guy who realizes he is getting left behind here. And so now he wants to start coming at everybody else. Typical. Well, that will conclude this edition of the Bofa Sports Shouting. Y'all make sure y'all visit the Bofa Sports YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and follow the Bofa Sports Facebook page. We will talk to y'all next week on another webcast, and I hope y'all have a great weekend. Y'all take care.